A lot of stuff happened to me this week, and I didn't have time to think about what I was going to talk about, so we're doing another improvised week by week video. Hi, welcome back. My name's Jay. This is Week by Week, a video journal series where I want to document the thoughts that I've had throughout the week and hopefully take action in my life. And so that when I look back on it, I can see how much I've progressed within these coming weeks. This time, I wanted to talk about boredom, but instead, I'm going to talk about progress. During my last episode, I mentioned about how I was going to start looking for my own places, how I was going to start looking into being a QA analyst, and I made some really big strides. And I've made a ton of progress in my life, and this is a good, happy video as opposed to my last two where I started it with like, this has been a really tough week. So I want to talk a little bit about how I was looking for apartments and my experience with that. I want to talk a little bit about QA and my career path. I'll start with looking for a place and looking for an apartment. So I had a budget set up. Apparently, a lot of landlords really like it when you have a 3-to-1 rent ratio, and I do not have that rent ratio. I've got like a 2-to-1. But I got my credit score, from the credit union. It's actually amazing because of all those years that I did pay my credit card every single time. This is the first month where I'm actually past due on purpose because the whole point is to free up some cash flow. So I have $1,000 that I haven't paid in my credit card. And I'm just going to be using the line of credit to transfer those fees onto that. So anyway, that's one part of the apartment thing. I have that 2-to-1 ratio. But because my credit score is good, hopefully they shine on me really well. Now, I visited like 4 places, and a lot of them were like, they made me realize what I did want to look for. I really don't want to live in like a basement apartment. I prefer if I didn't have a roommate, and I found 2 studios that were pretty nice. One of them I'm really, really hopeful for, but it had this sort of weird listing issue where the wrong unit was listed on the website, and so we visited a separate unit, but now we're not sure if the one that we saw is actually the one for the price. So I'm hoping that when my realtor gets back to me, he'll let me know that it is actually that one, and then maybe I'll pursue it. In the meantime, I do have a couple other places that I'm going to be visiting as well. And the whole point of this section of the video is just to discuss how, or when I look back on it, I'll remember about how scared I was about talking to realtors. Like over email, I was just using the websites where you click request a booking and they just generate a realtor for you, and I'd be so scared because I'm like, okay, I don't have a realtor, I don't trust these people, they don't know me, and they probably don't actually care. But the guy that actually I did end up talking to, because the 4 realtors that were in my emails were like, use one realtor, he's actually really nice, and he was really appreciative of me because I was 30 minutes early to our booking, and I called him, and he told me usually people don't show up early, usually they're there, he's there and waiting for them to come late. So that just made me feel even better about who I am as a person and like how I hold myself, that it was appreciated by some random individual that's just helping me. And then he made it like pretty obvious, or like he made it very clear about how payments work, where he's like, there are no hidden fees for me. He just makes a fee off of the landlord. And I was like, oh, okay, he's being really transparent. So I'm mentioning this because I've never done this before. And so I would be afraid of doing it, all the way back to like the fear of failure, the fear of the unknown, because I'm like, oh, they're gonna, they're gonna charge me some random fee. No, they're not. He was transparent. I did it. I took the first step, and now I've already scheduled more places to go to, and I'm really proud that I was able to, become more mature in doing these things that can be difficult. So the other section about progress that I want to talk about is my pursuit in the career and QA analyst that I said that I would be doing. Now this last week, I finished training in my current job. So when my week starts again, I will be a trained employee ready to take the floor and hit the numbers that they're expecting me to. And they gave me this, I'm not going to bring it up, but they gave me like a certificate. It's just like a, with my name on it, and it says, congratulations. I'll read what it says. Congratulations for achieving the APM bronze level. This certificate recognizes your achievement and your dedication to the bank and our clients. So they gave me that certificate, and that's really cool, and I'm ready to do that. And on the very last day, I got a call from a buddy of mine that actually got in contact with a QA lead at their company and recommended me because they just had somebody leave because they were still on probation, and so they have an empty spot. And what the QA lead was telling my buddy was that they're looking for, like, not they as in the company, they as in the QA lead, just the QA lead is looking for someone that doesn't really have much experience but understands the someone with a little bit of unprofessional experience in terms of just knowing how code works and what to expect. So, like 3 hours before my shift ends, I give this guy a text and I'm like, hey, if you want to have a call at 5, I'm more than happy to talk to you. So, and like for all my other interviews that I've had in QA, at least I've had some time to prep about what I'm going to say. So I was feeling like super nervous and super anxious about what am I going to say? Is this guy still going to like me? So I get in my car. It's 5 o'clock. The guy's like, okay, I'll call you. And I don't know why, but I like called him on the drive home. So not only did I not prepare, but I'm driving, and so I'm just going to be speaking from like the heart, I guess, or from like what knowledge I do have. So he ended up asking me like what experience I do have in code, and I told him that I've coded some games in Unity before. I told him that I went to post-secondary university and it taught me how to think in terms of CS, where I'm like pretty rigid, but I also think about every single possible edge case that a scenario could have. And sorry, I just really don't want this to shut off. And how that's important for QA because we have to know all of like the edge cases that are expected. So funny enough, what he told me was that when you hire somebody to drive a car, you expect them to at least know how to move the steering wheel. And what I think he meant by that was when we want to hire someone for the QA, we got to have a little bit of experience, but you don't have any. Now, at that point, my heart sunk. I was like, okay. Another guy that probably isn't going to put some more 2 cents into me, or not their 2 cents, that isn't going to put effort into building me up as a professional. At that point, I was like, okay, if this guy won't teach me, then no one else. But then we kept on talking, and what he said was that he wants to consistently be in contact with me to train me, to build me up to speed. He wants to teach me how to hold that steering wheel because there are some formalities that the company has to go through before they put the job up on the page, right? So that people start applying and stuff. And he wants me to get up to speed in time so that I can have an interview with HR and, pass the preliminary of having no experience. And so from there, our phone ended, and I've already been in contact with him 3 other times. And he is like teaching me about how the professional scene of the software development lifecycle would go. He told me about like what a business analyst is. He taught me what the QAs do in relationship with the developer, and he even shared his screen for me to show me what it's like to put like the communication between the developers and the QAs and how the process is expected to go. And that's pretty much what I mean when I say I wanted to talk about progress instead of boredom, because the boredom thing was fun and it was great to listen to in terms of the podcast, but this is like some crazy life development that's happened in the last week. I finished my training and my job and then immediately get a QA analyst mentor, all in the same time that I'm looking for an apartment. And I'm not scared at all. I'm confident and I'm going to work hard, and I'm excited to see where my life's going to go from here on out. I'm happy that I'm sharing this progress with myself in the future and anyone else that's watching this. But yeah, that's pretty much it. My name's Jay. This has been Week by Week, and I'll see you next week.